Welcome to every movie I've ever seen. This is a special Fuck You It's January edition, where throughout the month of January I'm going to be talking about bad movies, specifically bad movies that have a 0% on Rotten Tomatoes. And the movie that I'm going to be talking about today is John Henry. This is the 2020 straight to VOD film. Stars Terry Crews and Ludacris, and I guess they were like executive producers too. I wonder if they just wanted to make a film where like Terry Crews wanted to play the hero and Ludacris wanted to play the villain. I feel like maybe that's just how this whole thing started. And the movie wasn't completely bad. I mean, it was better than Max Steel and maybe some of the other films that I have yet to talk about. But it wasn't all that good either. It started off kind of slow and kind of boring, and you were just kind of waiting for... You're just kind of waiting for the movie to like start, the action to start. Because I had not heard of John Henry. Apparently John Henry is like a folk hero. I didn't know it was a real thing. So going into this, I'm kind of confused. Like, are they trying to make this into some like John Wick type thing? And then they have the opening credits with some song singing John Henry. It felt very Bond movie intro song. So I was kind of like, what are they going for here? And of course, you think John Wick because his dog gets run over in the opening of the movie for some reason. I mean, it's kind of relevant to the film because he's upset about his dog dying in a couple scenes, but it's not really all that relevant. They could have cut it out. There's a lot of VHS flashback stuff about his father, like, when John Henry was younger, but then they have real flashbacks when John Henry was younger, dealing with his cousin, who, of course, surprise, surprise, turns out to be Ludacris. Ludacris has some weird metal gold jaw thing. Really distracting. I don't know. The death scenes were kind of cool, I suppose. They were jarring. I always like a good jarring. Wow, I'm not saying that word right at all. A sudden death scene that kind of like shocks you, like, whoa, dude just got his head blown off. Didn't see that coming. But they're a dime a dozen in movies nowadays, so it's not all that much to go with. There's a lot of characters die in the movie, and you don't really care about them all that much. Especially because it does feel kind of sudden. Sometimes I feel like if you build up a death scene a little bit, then you could care that the character is dying more. If a character just turns the hallway and gets his head blown off, you don't really have the time to process that character is dying. So if you did care about the character, which in this case you didn't care about him anyway, but even if you did, you're not getting the chance to kind of, mourn them. Like, think about Logan, the movie Logan. You knew those two big deaths were coming in the movie, and they definitely teased them. They set it up. It's, Logan didn't just fall off a cliff and die. He had a slow, somewhat drawn out death scene for you able to process it and make it a little bit more emotional, I suppose. It's worth noting that this film was made by Saban or Sabin. I don't know how it's pronounced. It's the people who did Power Rangers, but that's not why it's important. It's gonna come up again. They did another film that I'm gonna talk about. I don't know if it's Saban or Sabin. I feel like it's Saban, but I also know the Alabama coach Nick Saban is pronounced Saban, and I believe it's spelled the same way. So I'm not sure how you pronounce it. I mean, that's the first time I've talked about football on this channel. Not a whole lot to say about this. It feels like sometimes with movies you can kind of see it's not that they were trying too hard, but it's like they were hoping too much in a way. Like they're making this and they're thinking, "Oh, this is gonna be good. People are gonna like this. People are gonna dig this. So throw a cool song in here, and we're gonna have an epic, epic scene." There was one thing that I liked. There was two guys were sitting in a car. They were talking about something. They're two like henchmen who work for Ludacris. They were talking about something, having some type of conversation. I don't remember what they were talking about, but I kind of liked it. It was like, it was kind of Clerks, Red versus Blue, irrelevant humor kind of that I like. But they get killed with the sledgehammer, so it's not all that significant. Yeah. It wasn't good, but definitely wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen. I've definitely seen worse films, and I definitely feel like I'm about to see even worse. So that's all I've got to say about John Henry.